Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. And you guys, earlier today, Sherri and I were both out Christmas shopping for gifts for each other. We know that's something that many of you are doing right now. And so in today's video, we thought that we would talk all about how to be a great gift giver.
Full disclosure, I think that this is like a spiritual gift sort of thing that he has and I do not.
I disagree. So Sherri thinks that she is a terrible gift giver and she thinks I'm a great gift giver.
You are a great gift giver.
Thank you. I don't think that Sherri is a terrible gift giver. I think that you overthink the gifts. And so it's like you have
overthink everything.
Well, yes, okay. That will be another video that we talk about though. How to not overthink during the holidays. But in today's video, basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share the approach that I use when I buy gifts for Sherri. Because that's one of the things that you've actually always told me throughout like all of our marriage is just how good of a gift giver I am.
You are.
And I will say that doesn't just come easy to me. It's something that I'm very intentional about. And so kind of in talking with each other, I've realized that maybe other people could benefit from hearing like my approach to gift giving. So that's what we're gonna talk about. All right, Sherri Beth. So when we approach Christmas together as a couple, kind of how do we do that as far as like, do we give each other a list? Do we set a budget? Let them know like what our approach is as far as gifts.
Well, we do set a budget that this one tends to just blow past.
Budgets are suggestions, right? They're just like, they're not like hard lines. They're like loose, blurry lines.
I stick to the budget, which also probably is partly why I feel like I'm not such a good gift giver because I like keep it within the budget that we set, and you never do. That
is one difference between the two of us, is that like you are, and some of it's like your personality, is that you, if there are lines drawn, you always stay between those lines.
I am a rule follower.
I think rules are suggestions, and it's like, yeah, if I can stay in there, cool, but I don't feel limited by the rules.
So yes, we do set a budget. We do also sort of do lists. I think I've mentioned this before. I actually have a Pinterest board with just like ideas that I sort of like toss in there throughout the year. So for family members and friends, they can just go look at my Pinterest board and kind of grab a gift off of there if they want to. For birthdays or for Christmas or for whatever.
I will say the Pinterest board actually is helpful because it's like this ongoing list. Because I don't know if you guys are like me. Sometimes you'll see things you might want throughout the year, but then when it comes to Christmas, you like don't remember any of that stuff, right? And so the Pinterest board is a great place just to like dump gift ideas throughout the year. And it is also helpful because I always know that at any time, not just like Christmas or birthdays, but like if I ever want to get Sherri just like a random I love you gift, like I can always go to her Pinterest board and it's updated with ideas.
So I do the Pinterest board, but for him, I always do try to ask for like a specific list. Like give me an itemized list of things that you want, which is very difficult pulling it from him. But I also just like, I am not great at just like going to a random store and like finding something. So I want like lists of, I want this shirt from this store. I want these shoes from this store.
Yeah, so like even earlier today, like I sent Sherri an email with like literally with links to the items and with like specific shirts at specific stores, specific locations.
Pricing to look for.
Even pricing, like, hey, just, you know, this is on sale here, that kind of stuff. So like I've realized that with Sherri that shopping can be really stressful. It's not fun for you.
No, it's not.
And so the idea of just like, hey, go Christmas shopping for me for the day, like without a specific list, that's like stressful and causes you anxiety.
Yes, it does.
Whereas for me, that's actually what I really love. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about my approach to gift giving. So I actually just have a few questions that I ask myself when I'm going to buy a gift for Sherri. I never ask myself, is this something she needs? Now, some people might view this differently, but if there's like a need that she has, that's the kind of thing that I just wanna buy. You know what I mean? Like I don't want Christmas or your birthday to be like a needs-based thing. Right. So the questions that I ask myself isn't like, does Sherri need this? The questions I ask myself, honestly, is this a gift that would bring Sherri life? Now that's kind of like a big question, but I genuinely ask myself that. Like what I know to be true about my wife, the things that are life-giving to her, the things that like nourish her soul, like is this a gift that I think will do that? Not even do I think that this was on her wants or needs list, but do I think that it's gonna be life-giving to her? And so for Sherri, you joked recently about like, you're easy to buy for because anything pink and sparkly. And that's actually not really true. Like you like pink stuff, you like sparkly stuff, but there's a lot of pink sparkly stuff that I don't think you would like,
that's
right?
True there. Yeah.
And so to me, the things that I know to be true about Sherri are that you are introverted, right? You really love like books, you love coffee, you really love art, you're a very creative person, but you're also a creative person only in like some specific lanes. Like you're not necessarily one to try a lot of new creative stuff. Right? So like an art creativity subscription box, probably actually not the best idea, because that's not something that you would necessarily love. I also know that Sherri is an Enneagram 4 or 6, like a personality test thing. And we've done other personality tests, so I know what she is there. So like I'll go to Google and I will search like best gifts for Enneagram 4s or Enneagram 6s, or best gifts for book lovers, or best gifts for, you know what I mean? Like the kind of things that I know to be true about you. Now, all of the things on that list aren't actually things you would like. However, when I look at those lists, I do start to get ideas, and I see things and I'm like, oh, you know what? This is something that I think would speak to Sherri. The other thing I know to be true about you is that you really love like to be seen, not in like a like this kind of like video sort of way, but like you love when you feel like I see you. You know what I mean? And so gifts like that weren't on a Pinterest board, but that I get her, and it's just like, you know my soul. You know what I mean? Like, those are the gifts like I just watch you light up at, that you didn't have to tell me I got because I know you. And so honestly, I think that for like to be a really good gift giver, and especially like in like a spouse kind of relationship or a dating relationship, like really get to know the other person, because it makes buying gifts so much better, but also so much more fun. And so for me, when I approach gift giving for Sherri, the number one question by far is this a gift that would bring her life?
I'm going to inject for just 1 second.
Okay.
Everything you said makes complete and total sense.
Yeah.
But it gave me such anxiety.
About why?
Because I feel like I do know you, but I also feel like I don't know, it's really hard for me to come up with like a gift that would speak to you.
Here's why. And this goes back to something that we discussed. We've discussed this a lot this last year, but maybe not so much on the vlog. So if you guys remember, I had a month off in August, right? My board of directors gave me a month-long paid sabbatical to go like rest and renew. The problem with that is that we discovered through that time that I don't really have a lot of hobbies. Like, sorry as I choke. Like everything that is a hobby to me, I monetize. Right? I turn everything in like a way to make money. And so I actually think that makes buying gifts for me more difficult.
It does.
Right? Because when it's like, well, what brings that in life? It's difficult because everything that has kind of been life-giving to me, I turn into a job. Right? And so I don't think that's necessarily on you. I think that speaks to like kind of a flaw in me that I do that I don't have a lot of stuff in my life that is just like pure enjoyment.
Yeah, like, right? I mean, so for me, like, if I am, like, okay, I know that occasionally you like coffee. Like, sometimes you're, like, super into it, and sometimes you're not. But, like, getting you, like, a coffee card is a hit or miss, because you don't always like coffee.
True.
Like, you kind of go through spurts where you're just like, no coffee at all, whatever. I know you like the Seahawks, but I also know that you have a lot of Seahawks stuff.
I have a lot of Seahawks stuff.
And so, like, I don't want to get you more Seahawks stuff.
Totally.
Because it's just going to sit on a shelf or in a box or whatever. And it's just like, So, like, this is why it's hard for me. Like, I know things that you like and I know things you really enjoy. But it's still very hard for me to, like... analyze this and get you the perfect gift.
Well, and I think that that's also a little different. And this is why when buying gifts, it's so important to know like what kind of personality you are and what kind of personality the person buying for you is. Because one of the things that I do for you, because I also know this goes back to like the overthinking thing, that for you it's like it's hard for you to take a chance on something. Right? And so that's why you love so much when I send you a specific list. Again, this goes back to the rules, right? You're like, let me know the rules we're playing in on this gift thing. Whereas for me, I take the rules and I'm like, okay, it's a general idea of what Sherri might like, but like I am totally fine going outside of that. In fact, nothing that I have bought you for Christmas this year has been on any list. you've given me or on your Pinterest
And the
board.
thing is, I have complete faith that they're going to be amazing gifts.
Yeah, because I think that, again, I really do try. I'm like, okay, what do I know to be true about Sherri? What do I think brings her life? Now, there are some times that I buy, I have a Missy hair. Missy's in the video. There are some times that I buy gifts that like, just, I don't want to say they're misses. They're just like, okay, well, that wasn't exactly what I expected, right? Because some of it is like a bit of trial and error. Like you try some things and they work, some things don't work. But I do think, like, rather than approach it and say, okay, what does Sherri necessarily want? What does Sherri necessarily need? Like, what would bring you life? So for me, one thing, this goes back to kind of Sherri's struggle to buy gifts for me. So I'm not really a stuff guy.
No, and I mean, that's also hard, like, buying new gifts, because, like, and that was the other thing, is, like, you want gift cards to things that,
Yeah.
and so then I'm also just like, okay, so I'm going to give you, like, an envelope on Christmas.
But see-
Merry Christmas!
But that for you, but for me, the thought of opening an envelope with an experience or something to make memories with is better than the thought of opening a box with a really cool thing, right? And
I know, but it's just not as exciting.
But to me, it's more exciting, and that's the thing. Remember, it's not about like how I feel when Sherri opens it. Like I want her to genuinely like it, right? And so the giving of the gift is more about the joy of the person receiving it.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's also like, if you just have like 1 or 2 envelopes under the tree because they were all super expensive.
Genuinely don't care.
I
like,
know,
I
but it's
love
just-
that. So wrap a fake box, stick an envelope in there. But that is one thing with me. Like the things that I tend to be like, I love experiences. I love memories, right? Cooking classes, barista classes, float tank experiences, dinners out together. Like those are the things, like something to do rather than more stuff.
Yeah.
It's like those are the things that like give me life. Like we are surrounded, not just here in our studio, but like our house is filled with stuff. We have too much stuff. It's not that stuff is bad. That's just not necessarily the stuff that brings me life. I wouldn't say that I find life in any of our stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I find life in the things that we do together. Whereas for you genuinely find life in things like books, right? And things like Disney ears and relaxations. And so there's stuff, and neither one of those is right or wrong.
Right.
It's just how, right? Like we're different. And so I think that impacts like the giving of gifts. And so there are some experiences that you wouldn't necessarily find life-giving. Right? But that I would. And so I think that that's important to know. Again, this goes back to knowing the person who you're buying the gift for and remembering that like ultimately the gift is about like their joy and them finding life rather than, oh dang, you only have an envelope to open. It's like, yeah, that envelope may literally make my day. Right? All right, sure. So other than the fact that me talking about giving gifts that somebody finds life in, what else is anxiety inducing to you about the whole gift giving process?
So I think that I am just like an overthinker in general, kind of about everything in life.
Uh-huh.
And so I will talk myself out of a lot of things. Like, so I went shopping today and I went to several different places. And
What places were those at?
I'm not going to tell you, but there were a lot of different places and I kind of walked around, but it was still just like, would he like this? And I actually had a few things and I was like, and I put them back, and then, like, it was just like, I can talk myself out of things really quick because I'm not sure that you're gonna like them, and so I'm just gonna assume that you won't.
So
and it's just the whole experience is just stressful for me. So if I don't have like a specific list, like it's just.
Yeah. So that's actually a helpful tip for people. If you have people like Sherri in your life, one of the ways that like I can serve Sherri is by giving her a list.
Yeah.
Right? Is by
Which
like
then also kind of like it removes any surprise.
Sure.
Because you know exactly what you're getting because you gave me a list of 4 things and you're probably going to get those 4 things.
But
like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's but at least they're things that you like that I know you're going to like.
Yeah, but I also think that it like I also really enjoy when you take chances.
Not always.
Well, not always. Okay, let's tell this story. This is one of our favorite stories.
Here's the thing. Which one are you going to tell? Because there's a few.
I'm going to tell the messenger bag story.
Okay.
So I was working from like coffee shops a lot and taking my laptop with me places. And I didn't really have like a good messenger bag. And like I wanted something like really good, really quality, like just like a nice messenger bag. And here's the problem is that in my mind, what I'm thinking is nice leather, almost like hipstery, sort of worn vintage look, higher end, like just nicer. You know what I mean?
He didn't say those words to me.
I did not say those words.
He just said, I want a messenger bag that my laptop will fit in.
And so And so Sherri,
Keeping within the lines of our budget.
that's exactly right. And so Sherri goes like to Best Buy and buys like this, it's like a super like utilitarian like laptop bag.
Like the Case Logic. I mean, it wasn't cute at all.
No.
But it fit within our budget.
And technically it was a messenger bag that my laptop would fit in.
And I remember even picking it up and thinking, he's not going to like this, but this is what he said he wanted. Like, this isn't him at all.
It's not, and it was not me at all. It was like I was going to a job as an accountant. No offense to accountants.
No,
It's
but like, I don't know. Not even that. Like, it was not cute.
It was really not. And so like, but even in that I learned the importance of specifics. Right? And so like, not just like a messenger bag, it's like, hey, this kind of thing is sort of what I'm, you know what I mean, looking for. Because again, like I know that Sherri wanted to get me what I wanted.
And I redeemed myself on Valentine's Day.
You guys, so
Like the following, so like 2 months later.
she bought me the most spectacular leather messenger bag. It was amazing, and I used it for years.
Because he told me what he wanted.
Yeah, and so I think that's okay, like to ask specifics from the people. Like, hey, you said messenger bag. In my mind, I went to Case Logic, but like you may be thinking something different. Give me some examples. Even today, one of the things that was on Sherri's list was, or that's actually on her list this year, is like a wall-mounted necklace hanger. Right? And so I was at a store earlier today, she didn't know this, and as I'm there, I'm texting her things.
I mean, I figured that you were at a store because you're asking very specific questions.
That's true. And so I'm asking her, I'm like, okay, you know, what do you want? Like, give me some ideas, this kind of stuff. And so she sends like photos of ideas from Etsy, like the kind of thing she wants, which I'm so glad I asked because it was very different than what I was looking at. And so instantly I'm like, nope, I'm in the wrong place. This is going to be Case Logic all over again, right? And so I think that's important. Give specifics on the things you want, but also don't be afraid to ask for specifics or just clarifying questions like, hey, when you said messenger bag, send me some photos of what you had in mind, just to make sure that you're on the same page, because ain't nobody wanting to wake up Christmas morning and open up a Case Logic messenger bag. I promise you.
I think another thing to remember when you're giving gifts is like what the love language of that person is. For me, one of my love languages is gifts. And so, like, literally, he could bring home, like, a pack of, like, my favorite gum, and I would be super excited because he thought about me and he brought me something that I like. Like, I'm super easy, I think, to give gifts to because anything is going to make me happy because I just like gifts. Because
the gift speaks to something deeper.
Right.
Because for you, it really isn't as much about the gift as much as it's the fact that, man, Adam was in the grocery store checkout line, saw my favorite gum, and thought of me.
Right.
Right?
Like, I'm thought of, like,
yep.
That speaks to me. That's what, for me, what gifts are.
Totally. And so if you don't know what love languages are, just, like, Google, like, love languages. There's 5 of them or something like that. Mm-hmm. My love language tend to be things like physical touch and words of affirmation. And so for me, thank you, I'm being petted now. But so for me, it's one of the reasons that I think I like experiences so much, right? They're tangible, they're physical, they're hands-on kind of things. And so for me, like, I like gifts, but I like gifts that speak to that kind of stuff.
Right.
Right? It's not just like a pack of gum to me is just like, dope, I got a pack of gum, you know? Whereas like a pack of gum to you is like, you thought of me, you saw me, right? And so I think, again, this goes back to, you want to be a good gift giver, like get to know your person really, really well. Like if words of affirmation is their thing for Christmas, give them a jar with 52 pieces of paper in it, and every Monday they have to pull one out, and it is something that you love about that person. Like it is a word of affirmation for that person. Boom. Like it takes some time. You can't order on Amazon, but what it will mean to that person is huge, right? If it's a person who likes gifts like Sherri does, get to know them so that the gifts that you're giving them help them feel seen and feel known. It speaks to like who they are. It's life-giving. So guys, I think that's about where we're going to end this video. We want to hear from you down below. Do you consider yourself a good gift giver or a terrible gift giver? Also, do you have any tips or tricks on how to give good gifts? Anything we talked about in today's video that you agree with or you absolutely do not? Let us know. Sherri, so far we have, 9 days till Christmas, right? 8 days when this video goes up.
8 days.
How do you feel you're doing on gifts this year for me?
Terrible.
You do, really?
You have 3 under the tree. 3!
But here's the thing. Okay, you know what? This video is not over yet. So this is a difference between you and I. We talked about this when we started to have like nephews and to be around more kids. You were kind of raised, I think, around a lot of kids. And so it's very important that like every person has the same amount of gifts.
Yeah.
Right? And in some ways, communication of value or of love is done in one of the ways by the number of gifts you have.
I mean, yes and no, but I also feel like because we were raised, like, I just, everybody had the same amount of gifts. I don't know, like, for me, I almost feel bad if, like, my pile is, like, 37 gifts and you have 3.
Here's what I will say.
And, like, I mean, I understand, like, they might be 3 things that you absolutely love, but it's still just, like, it stresses me out.
Real talk, though, this is genuine honesty.
I know.
If it's Christmas morning and you had 37 gifts, which you may, because again, I don't stick to a budget. Ain't no budget. I ain't gonna stick to no budget.
The worst.
And what I have is one gift under the tree, and it's an envelope. But it is something that is like the most life-giving thing to me. I'm over the moon. I am so stoked. But also, remember how much I love to give gifts to you. So it's like, it's joy to me to watch you open things that I think and know you're gonna love.
So right? my biggest gift to you is just to let you have no budget.
Yes, absolutely. That counts as one gift for me. So you guys, okay, now we're officially going to end the video. Was this helpful at all? Don't know if it was. I hope that it was. Sherri's told me for a number of years that she enjoys the gifts that I give her. She thinks I'm a good gift giver.
He is.
And so we thought, thank you. And so we thought, I don't know, might be kind of cool to talk about the way I approach gifts. Again, the question that I ask myself, the primary question is, do I think this is something that is going to be life-giving to Sherri? Does it speak to her introverted soul? Does it speak to her creative soul? Is it the kind of thing that she will feel seen by? Is it the kind of thing that I think not just that she needs, but she would genuinely like want and love in her life? You guys, we love you. As always, thanks so much for watching LeggLife. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you have not. Sherri, 17 days through Vlogmas, 8 videos left, and we have officially made it through Vlogmas for the first time. You guys are amazing for sticking with us. We'll see you on the next video.